Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Report. And did Elizabeth Warren scam her way into Harvard by claiming to be Native American? Is Elizabeth Warren part Native American? Or did Elizabeth Warren use white privilege to claim something that does not belong to her and benefit off of something that should have gone to a Native American? And is Elizabeth Warren a balls-out hypocrite for condemning President Obama's $400,000 speaking fee when she lives in a $5 million house and was making well over $400,000 and hopes to profit off of a book that she just published that's going to reap even more money? Now, like I said before, I like Elizabeth Warren. I think Elizabeth Warren is great. But just like I go after Donald Trump for being what I think he is, a liar, a hypocrite, I'm going to go after Miss Warren too. Because it might seem, Miss Warren, that you are in fact a liar and a hypocrite. Are you Donald Trump in a dress? Now, much has been made about Miss Warren's revelation that she is in fact part Native American and used that status to claim scholarships and opportunities that Native Americans are afforded in regards to education and other things. Oh, and by the way, Miss Warren, if your book sells over $400,000 in profits, how much of it are you going to give to the Native American people? Yeah, right. Anyway, much has been made of her Native American or alleged Native American status, and really, a gene test would clear all this up right away for all of you out there that are listening to this right now. If you want to know where you come from, take a gene test. Cost you about $300, cheaper than an iPhone, and you can pinpoint exactly where you come from on this planet. A lot of you may be surprised at where you come from on this planet. A lot of you really don't want to know where you come from on this planet. But a gene test would clear all of this up. But Miss Warren has not taken a gene test. We've gone off of her brother's claims that I guess she's been told ever since she was a little girl that her high cheekbones are proof enough that she is of Native American descent. So unless your brother is adopted, doesn't that mean he's Native American too? So wouldn't he say, well, yeah, my sister's Native American, I'm Native American. I've got high cheekbones just like her. Yes, we're in fact Native American. But he hasn't claimed to be a Native American. How did it skip a sibling? How did the Native American gene jump over your brother and just land on you? Do you know who is actually more Native American than he is African American? Snoop. Snoop did a gene test. And Snoop is the biggest part of Snoop's makeup is Native American. So I guess that explains all that weed smoking that Snoop does. That's the peace pipe gene in him that he can't suppress. Now, Miss Warren's refusal to take a gene test may be for good reasons, because it may come at a cost. This is where it gets tricky. She claimed minority status when she enrolled into college, or when she enrolled into Harvard, meaning that because she was Native American or part Native American, that she did not have to pay to go to school. So if she takes a gene test and it in fact comes out that she is not Native American, that she is European, that means she bilked the system. That means she scammed her way into college. That means she scammed her way through a lot of opportunities that quote unquote minorities are supposed to get in order to equalize the imbalance or the systemic racism in the system. So for a lot of you white people that complain about affirmative action, you know, it's, why do we have to have affirmative action? Why? That's why the hiring practices of this country were significantly in favor of whites, meaning that whites really weren't hiring anybody else. There was an imbalance in the employment system. So from the time that blacks were here, they were never hired into any jobs. They were never hired into corporate positions. They were never even discrimination when you tried to create your own opportunities. All of that was stacked against black folks. So what happens is if you can't work, you can't earn a living, you can't pay your taxes, you can't keep up your property, you can't do a lot of things. So what begins to happen is this systemic system of poverty that has been stacked on top of black America. So by the time we got to the 60s, it just kind of reached a fever pitch. People were broke, people were poor, people couldn't get jobs, and that on top of the racism just exploded, specifically with the riots in Detroit. That pretty much became the symbol of America's racism and bias that had just come to a head. So by the time we got to the 70s, affirmative action measures were put in place to start to get black people into the workforce, specifically corporate America. And even within that system, racism would still ensure that black males would not have access to the same high-paying jobs, the same opportunities as white males. What they did was they used the black woman because they got two for the price of one. You got a woman and you got a quote-unquote minority or a black. So the system elevated the black woman over the black man. You kept the black man down. At the same time, you propped the black woman up and gave her access to those opportunities. So black women would then turn on black men and say, well, you know, I'm succeeding. Why can't you succeed? Without understanding their place in that system and why they were being used in that system to promote quote unquote diversity or affirmative action at the expense of black males. So that's a whole nother topic that we can get onto. But for whites that don't understand the affirmative action initiative, it was designed to balance out the workplace. But what would happen is for every quote unquote minority that was hired, a white person would not be hired. So whites now see themselves as being disenfranchised. Well, I'm not getting a job because I'm white, while not understanding that for so long you benefited from being white and being able to just simply walk into some place and get a job. Just like Miss Warren apparently was able to walk into Harvard, claim Native American status, and get a free ride through one of the most prestigious schools in the country. And she married white. She's been living white for all this time. So I guess once her Native American background served its purpose, she kind of put that back in the closet and went back to being a good old-fashioned Anglo-Saxon. And I've heard of white people pulling this stunt, claiming Native American ancestry in order to get benefits that they should not get. So just like Democrats and liberals are yelling and screaming for Donald Trump to release his income taxes, why don't those same liberals and Democrats yell and scream for Elizabeth Warren to take a gene test? And let's find out if you're in fact part Native American, or did you scam your way using the system to benefit off of what Native Americans should have got to enfranchise yourself at the expense of somebody else. It's okay for you to live in a $5 million house. It's okay for you to go to one of the best schools in the country. It's okay for you to make over $400,000 a year. But it's not okay for President Obama to make $400,000 for a speech. You reek of hypocrisy at this point, Miss Warren. So take a gene test. Let's clear all this up. Or do you speak with a forked tongue like so many Anglos do? This is KTM and the Wake Up Report saying think a little bit. It will do wonders for you.